The Green Bay Packers and Russ Ball have yet again restructured another main player's contract this morning, creating even more cap space for the 2023 season. And that player is Kenny Clark, a prime candidate for a restructure. The Packers have converted $13.835 million of nose tackle Kenny Clark's 2023 compensation into a signing bonus, creating $11.068 million in cap space per source. So basically, like it says in that tweet, they converted a lot of Kenny Clark's base salary and also some of his roster bonus, per game roster bonuses and workout bonuses into prorated bonuses, which then allowed them to stretch that money over the next few years. As we all know, this is just kicking the can down the road. This isn't a pay cut by any means. Kenny Clark didn't accept a pay cut. This is simply just pushing some more money into future years and worrying about it later, giving them more room for the now. So first, I wanted to bring up Kenny Clark's old deal before this restructure. Last year, they restructured Kenny Clark's deal again, a max restructure just like this one. I think they created about $10.8 million in cap space last year when they were in cap trouble, and now they're creating even more this year. As we see here in 2023, he was set to have a $23.9 million cap hit, and in 2024 he was set to have a $24.7 million cap hit. And last year they had added 2 void years onto his deal, pushing out $2.7 million each year, which then accumulated into that $5.4 million dead cap that he would have in 2025. This was after last year's restructure. Now we go into this morning's restructure for Kenny Clark. We see his cap hit for 2023 drops all the way from $23 million to just under $13 million, $12.9 million in 2023. Then it jumps up to $27.4 million in 2024. They added another void year onto his contract. So as we remember, there was 2 void years on his previous restructure. They added yet another, basically allowing them to push out another $2.76 million and add an additional $2.6 onto the already existing 2.6s that were in 25 and 26. And basically what that does is all of that money right there will accumulate in 2025 when Kenny Clark is set to be an impending free agent. And if the Packers weren't to re-sign him in 2025, he would have a dead cap hit of $13.7 million against the cap. That is way, way more in comparison to someone who they are already paying a void dead cap right now in Adrian Amos of $7.9 million. And that money is a lot. So if this were to go down this way, where Kenny Clark does become a free agent at 30 years old in 2025, and the Packers were to let him walk, that would be a lot of money to pay a guy who's not on a team. Nearly 5% of your total salary cap for a guy that isn't on your roster. So now you can kind of see why restructuring multiple times, especially when they're both max restructures, can be a really bad thing for future years, especially when you keep adding on void years and keep stacking more and more bonus onto those void years. But obviously the Green Bay Packers still had to create salary cap for this year. They were under the cap, but the rookie class costs money. Free agents that you want to re-sign on your team, your impending free agents, other outside free agents, and just having money to play around with for the season start. So currently the Green Bay Packers, if we look at this chart here, now are $17.5 million under the salary cap. So they have $17.5 million to play around with, but if we look at effective cap space, which basically takes into effect what the rookie class rough estimate is going to cost them, then their effective cap space is $13.6 million. Now, yesterday, Brian Gutekunst basically said that he is going to restructure David Bakhtiari's contract, keeping him on the roster for 2023. And if we look here at his 2023 contract, it's, set to be a $28.8 million cap hit. And if they were to do a max restructure, they would save, $7.86 million there, and his cap hit would drop down to $20.8 million. So expect that to happen with the coming days as well. Brian Gutekunst himself said David Bakhtiari will be back, and they will be restructuring his contract. So expect somewhere around that ballpark of a restructure, and for the Packers to gain another, $5 to $8 million in cap space, which would then put the Green Bay Packers right around $20 million effective salary cap space, where then they can go out and try to re-sign some of their free agents. They have some guys they need to re-sign: Keyshawn Nixon, Rudy Ford. Gutekunst talked about Mason Crosby, bringing him back into the building. There's a couple of restricted free agents such as Yosh Nijman. Robert Tunyon's another unrestricted free agent. So there's a lot of guys that they could still bring back that are impending free agents. They'll likely test the market. I'm hoping they don't allow Keyshawn Nixon to test the market and they sign him, before the new league year start here on March 16th. And then, of course, it obviously changes with whatever Aaron Rodgers' decision is. If he were were to retire, they can split his cap hit up into 2 years, and it would actually lower this year's cap hit by a decent bit. But if they wanted to put it all on this year, it would actually raise his cap hit by $9 million. Same goes for a pre-June 1st trade. If the Green Bay Packers do decide to trade Aaron Rodgers, and put it all pre-June 1st, they'll have to accumulate another $9 million in salary cap for a cap hit for Aaron Rodgers. But then that would erase next year's cap hit for Aaron Rodgers entirely if they were to take it all pre-June 1st, which is something that, might be a good thing to do. But that about does it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. Just a quick update. Obviously, like I said, they're going to do a David Bakhtiari restructure probably in the next few days. So that'll be right here on this channel to get the exact numbers, what his contract looks like, and what the Packers salary cap space is. So be on the lookout for that. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. And as always, go Pack.